And so do I. I hope you make me thinking, oh, you wouldn't get this far. I just wanna tell you how I feel. Thinking, oh, gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around. Desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell you lie. And
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
That was quite the song.
That's my jam.
Is it? You're jamming jam?
Yep.
New jam. Is that what you listen to when you're making comics, Mike?
Yes, constantly.
So,
I just have it on a loop.
Oh,
oh no. So, Mike, how are
Hi.
you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy couple days, and I don't know, like things are going good.
Awesome.
fantastic. According to your little Indiegogo thing, it looks like they're going quite well.
Wait, fantastico.
Yeah, we're tracking way better than we were first time around.
It's great. So this is Mike Murphy. He's the creator of Samurai Dinosaurs, a graphic novel. And today he's with us, Degenerate Folk, here in the Forbidden Sounds. I am Man of Sex, and with me is my co-host and co-creator,
Whoa.
69. And co-conspirator. So
Welcome,
tell us a little bit about the book, Mike.
Yeah, you got it. So it's kind of a love letter to grindhouse and art house samurai films, and the kind of classic monster movies of old, like the stop motion stuff. The story focuses on a group of elite samurai who are dispatched to investigate a downed meteorite that's maybe causing the countryside to be in turmoil. There are reports of monsters attacking the locals, so they're sent in to investigate.
Interesting. That's I really like the art style. I'm just checking it out as you're
That's
scrolling
great.
here. It's really neat.
You gotta always have a bathhouse scene of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's not-
what's funny is I just for the first time in like a good couple of years I just rewatched Ninja Scroll, and it's funny how much that kind of cycle influenced me on like a subconscious level.
I mean, that's a really cool panel right there.
It's the best way to always be influenced is subconsciously. Otherwise, it's just
So, I mean, how much of your book is colored? Is just the cover going to be colored? Or?
Yeah, we're going black and white because we're paying homage to like Akira Kurosawa films and Ray Harryhausen films, like Valley of the Guanji and King Kong, stuff like that.
Right. That's really
So
cool.
so yeah, the flashback sequences are just in ink, and then the current scenes are all done in a digital ink wash.
very cool.
What can you elaborate on what the digital ink wash is? Is it just a brush style or?
Yeah, like right there is a good example. So what Sergio did is he did a mix of like doing ink splotches on paper and scanning them in, and some of it's done all in Photoshop, and some of the samples themselves are taken from movies like Seven Samurai.
Wow,
So
neat.
yeah, so he'll go in and be it digitally or with some of those scanned ink washes, like he'll just add them to the background and the characters.
That's a really neat touch.
It's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, Sergio's a beast. Like we've known each other for Since maybe 2000 or 2001, and we've done some submissions to publishers, but like out of all of them, like this is still the favorite thing that I've ever worked on with him.
Wow. And so, what is your kind of page release schedule? Do you have something like a couple pages a week, or how long did it take you to finish this book?
It took back and forth. It took the better part of like, I don't know, like between 4 and 6 months. Like it's normally longer when you're dealing with like a 110-page book, but
Mhm.
like Sergio's ridiculous. Like when we did the first campaign that didn't get funded, the reason that we did it was he was really busy this year and he wouldn't be able to work on it past like December or January.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to give him like January and February to like make all the adjustments to the art and add new pages here and there. I wanted to give him 2 months, and within like 2 weeks he was done.
So, wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, he's
Wow.
so fast.
Beast is kind of an understatement at that point. That's
Yeah, yeah.
So did you develop the script first and then send it over to him, or did you both kind of develop that in tandem?
It was something I approached him with. To to be honest, my wife and I, who's the co-publisher, we we saw Cowboys and Aliens like way back in the day, like 2007, 2008, I think.
Hmm.
And like we were just doing that thing of like we could do that better, and like we did the thing of just like throwing names back and forth, just whatever dumb thing we could think of, and Samurai and Dinosaurs came out of my mouth, and like eventually we stopped laughing and thought it was really cool. And I
Absolutely.
ran, thanks. I ran the premise past Sergio, and yeah, within like a month and a half, I had the whole script worked out for him.
Wow. How many hours did it take to develop your script? I mean, it's 100+ page comic book. It's nothing, nothing simple about that.
Yeah, yeah, and it was the first and pretty much only time I've done the whole like there's a couple different approaches you can take with writing. You can do what I do, which is you can be super anal retentive, and you can like work out a page by page outline of like what happens and when, and then go back and based on that outline script it all out.
Right.
Or you can just kind of take this more free form Neil Gaiman approach of just like letting the characters and the story go the way they want to go.
Hmm.
And so this was pretty much the only time that I've done that, and like luckily it kind of worked out. Like by the time I got to the end of the script, like there were things that were connecting where I was like, okay, well, if this happens, that justifies this character's actions here, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just such a gamble because if you just let it sort of happen naturally, you never know what you're gonna get. And in
Yeah,
your case, obviously, it worked out. But
right. Yeah, normally what happens, like especially with like younger writers, I find when I talk to them tend to do stuff like that, and usually what happens is they'll get like 20 or 30 pages in, and they'll stop and never go back to it.
mm. So, what are some of the other mistakes that young writers make?
Um, you don't. In my opinion, at least, you don't have to have like a concrete ending in place before you start writing, but you should kind of at least have a rough idea of where you want the story and the characters to go.
Hmm.
Um, if only because like you want to really build up a character's arc, and you really want to build up the themes of the story as you're banging out that first draft.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and like I think the biggest one is like you'll talk to a young writer and they'll be like, I know the start of the story and I know the end of the story. I have no idea what happens in between.
How we get from A to Z.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like that's kind of where like a lot of the like work comes into being a writer, because basically what you're doing is uh, you're filling time, so to speak. as a writer, you just want to show your reader, like, look at this cool thing that I thought of.
Right.
But you have to earn it, so to speak.
Well, you also have to develop your characters and make them really interesting and relatable, and we want to feel their pain as they go through whatever journey you're going to put them on. I mean,
Right.
ideally. So,
I have a
Yeah, it
question. What is
yeah,
this?
it's not like you're sitting right next to them, like giving them a play-by-play of who's who. So
yeah.
all of that juicy stuff is kind of what the middle of the story is for.
Juicy bits.
And it's amazing how, like, especially in the approach you took where you sort of pantsed parts of the comic book where you guys were just able to come together and create something fun
Yeah.
without bossing each other around too much.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like there were, like the script, as I was giving him pages, and he was drawing them, obviously like the bones of the story were in place, but I was able to kind of sort of do a second draft in the lettering by like going back and like changing dialogue and changing the points of certain scenes,
Yeah.
So that was helpful.
Well, it looks like you've done a great job, and hopefully you meet your goal, man.
Yeah, I hope so, and thank you.
Absolutely.
I back myself. Everyone out there, try to back Samurai Dinosaurs, a graphic novel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I got one more question for you. So, in your opinion, so I know obviously the difference between a graphic novel and a comic book is probably the length and the amount of text
Yeah.
that's used. But what are some other sort of subtle differences in your opinion between the two?
Well, like when you're dealing with a single issue of a comic, you're basically dealing with an episode of television. And that can take a couple different forms. You could have kind of your monster of the week thing, like something like Buffy or like a cop show, where at the end of the issue everything is wrapped up and the characters are basically back to zero.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have like something like Game of Thrones or Lost, where the narrative and the characters kind of build from episode to episode, and by the end of a season everything's changed, kind of like a book.
Right.
So really, like what you're dealing with is you're dealing with an episode of TV versus like a 2 or 3 hour movie.
And so the graphic novel is like just a really long feature then.
Yeah, like it's a story with a beginning, middle, and end that kind of. I mean, obviously there are graphic novel series that have sequels, but for the most part, like when you read it, you're reading a complete finite experience.
Very cool, man. Thanks for taking the time to answer that. I always like to hear people's opinion.
Sure, no, it's my pleasure.
So the real question is, how has daylight savings time affected you? Because I hate it.
Not great, not great. Especially because we got a 7-month-old that's teething.
Oh man,
So
that sounds awful.
yeah, so like our sleep schedule was all over the place as it is, and now it's completely destroyed. We're like right now we're at the coast dealing with some family stuff, and like between daylight savings and just not being in like our usual surroundings, and our kid not being in usual surroundings, like just it's cats and dogs living together, that type of stuff.
Yeah, because kids are just so accustomed to having a set schedule.
Right.
And if
right.
you break it, then they don't know what to do.
Right. Like how do you explain to a 7-month-old, like, no, it's not 5 in the morning, it's 6 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, apparently Donald Trump and Vernon Buchanan want to keep daylight savings time enacted.
Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm sure it's just hot air, but something to look forward to.
Well, it always is. He comes from Miami. That's all that comes out.
I mean, isn't the start of it, like, doesn't it date back to World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was to save oil and candlelight and things like that.
Yeah, and it's like, well, we're not still in World War II, right? Like,
No, we're not.
Well, that's debatable.
I mean, Depending
There's
on
a
who you
lot of
ask.
talk of Nazis. So
Exactly.
we might be.
Exactly.
On that subject, let's talk about the billionaire blood diamond trader who died during penis enlargement surgery.
He really wanted a bigger schlong. All his
billionaire-
money,
Tell you everything.
yeah, all his money didn't take into account that he had a small penis.
Right.
Yeah, well, you gotta have the best of the best.
Yeah.
Do you think he had a diamond penis?
Yeah. It's so hard it could cut through anything.
He's a billionaire blood diamond trader. He just
Mhm.
trades blood diamonds, guys.
That's
I
interesting.
think it's okay.
It was actually formed out of blood diamonds.
Yeah.
A
It was like
billionaire,
rhinestoned up.
a billionaire diamond trader named Ayud Ari. I'm probably going to complete. Recently died in a Parisian clinic where he was undergoing penis enlargement surgery. The procedure reportedly triggered a fatal heart attack in the 65-year-old. The names of
Wow.
the doctor and clinic involved have not been released to public. You think anyone died when he?
Where they
Woke up
don't want bad publicity or something.
Oh, Briano is in the stream. Briano's here. He's the swarthy one.
Welcome.
We found out last night on the stream he is Spanish.
Hey,
TC Fox Gaming says, "Whoops, I meant World War II." And PCS says, "I own Wall Street." Wall Street. Brian says, "Hola." Speaking
Hola.
of Hola, so this company was based in Antwerp, Belgium, a city where many of the world's top diamond producers have also decided to place their headquarters. In fact, 84% of the diamonds that are mined throughout the entire world ended up passing through Antwerp. What's the statement? So the statement that they said, "Farewell to a visionary businessman. It is a great sadness that we confirm that our founder, Ayud Ari Liando, has passed away. After living an exceptional life, Ayud will be brought back home to Israel
Oh,
as
wow.
his final resting place, and he will dearly be missed by us all." So I guess blood diamonds, well, that's a good thing about death, is when you die, the fire and sins wash away after you die, and everyone loves you.
Right,
Mm.
right.
What a way to be memorialized. He died because he got and wanted a bigger schlong.
Yeah, like how bad are they trying to downplay that right now?
Yeah.
You think they will, he'll have a diamond tomb
Maybe, man.
or be in
Yeah.
a diamond urn?
I guess he found out that diamonds weren't girls' best friends, that a bigger dick was. Who knows?
Well, yeah, that's what he found out in the end. It didn't matter how much money he
Yeah.
had.
Right.
As long as he had a small schlong, he couldn't operate the way he wanted to.
Yeah.
There was
Oh,
probably some
poor
positions
guy.
where he just couldn't get the right, depth that he needed.
Oh, well.
I mean, hey, sometimes you just gotta play the cards you're dealt and be happy.
Exactly.
Sometimes just
Exactly. He'd still be alive.
He'd still be alive with a small dong. I'd rather be alive with a small dong than dead with a diamond big dong.
Right.
Oh, man.
And this is a article about I was America's first non-binary person. It was all a sham. Now, I'm not sure exactly what he's holding there. It looks like a flag. I guess it's a non-binary flag.
I'll say yes.
It has a very Easter type of color scheme to it.
Yeah, it's
It
missing yellow.
He's having he has a very nice blouse for sure.
Yeah. Good for him. I like
Now,
the
I am
mountain
saying he
scenery.
because I know a little bit more about this than other people because I read the article. But according to this, he's now a he again.
Okay.
4 years ago, I wrote about my decision to live as a woman in New York Times, writing that I have wanted to live authentically as a woman that I have always been and have effectively traded my white male privilege to become one of America's most hated minorities. Which I guess is a trans white woman?
Right.
Or a non-binary. Well, he made it up, actually. He's the first one to say this because he wrote in the New York Times. So I'm not sure how you become the most hated minority if you just made it up. But
Maybe trans.
about
I
it.
don't know, man. That's a beautiful publicity statement.
3
Yeah, he's
years
got
ago,
great PR.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I decided that I was neither a male nor a female, but non-binary, and made headlines after an Oregon judge agreed to let me identify as third sex, not male or female. Now I want to live again as the man I am. I am one of the lucky ones. Despite participating in medical transgenderism for 6 years, my body is still intact. Most people who desist from transgender identities after gender changes can't say the same.
Man.
What do you think about that?
So where does the whole sham part come in? Like, because and again, this is usually the case with headlines. The headlines makes it sound like he was purposely set all this up as like, you know, a goof or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like he set it up to get some sort of benefit, but I guess it didn't play out the way he wanted it.
Sure. And of course it's here in Oregon.
But
Jamie Choop identifying. Well, Jamie is probably one of the best names you can have for a non-binary.
Yeah, I mean, it reaches both male and female.
Male and female at the same time. I learned how to become a female from online He learned how to become a female from online medical documents at a Department of Veterans Affairs hospital website.
Can we just talk about that for a second?
Right. Like, what do you mean learn? Like, I mean, my understanding of gender dysphoria is like you automatically feel like it and identify with it. It shouldn't have to be
Exactly.
You shouldn't have to take a night class.
Yeah, at the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Right.
Okay, interesting.
When you're at the Department of Veteran Affairs. Well, so do we link 2 and 2 together, or do we leave it be? What do you think? Now this is
another interesting picture.
Another interesting picture. They just keep coming. Escaping to non-binary, which sounds like it's an island. Oh,
hey,
there we go. There's the money shot.
He has a pearl necklace.
It's a pearl. He looks like a very fancy woman. He looks like, yeah.
He's got a Dame Judi Dench thing going on.
Yes, he does.
But unfortunately, he's not blind.
Judy Pench.
Right.
Mike Pence. And
he's terrible at acting, apparently, too.
Exactly. And then here he is in the field. They don't talk about the field. Once again, they just talk about Jamie Shoop, as we didn't get that from the other 5 pictures that said Jamie Shoop underneath them. But I kind of want to know where he is more than who he is.
Right.
I think we've all came to that point. Oh, and there he is again. Now this is him now. He is now of male sex identity. And now he's just a simple bald man.
So basically he took a vacation. He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, he took a mancation, if you will.
Yeah.
And then now he's man. Okay, on the next topic of that, Orthodox Judaism. Now this is about kosher sex. Now there's a little myth that the kosher or ultra-Orthodox Jews actually have sex through a sheet. That is an urban legend.
Or is that Amishes?
The Amish supposedly do too, but I'm kind of questioning if any of this is real now. It sounds like a conspiracy.
Yeah. My paradigm has been shattered.
It's a conspiracy that I'm willing to look into.
Yeah.
And it's a conspiracy I think should be mentioned and talked about. I think we need to find out. Well, supposedly it is an urban legend. They have it linked here as an urban legend. Do Orthodox... Oh, it's from Snopes. So this is kind of a one-on-one. I'm not sure if we should trust it or not because it is Snopes.
That looks pretty romantic. I mean, there's some mood lighting. It's dusk. You know?
I would say the conspiracy is this is just to get more dry cleaners.
Okay.
What would you say? Think they're just trying to get a higher dry cleaning bill?
Maybe it's something more cynical than that. I don't know.
You think maybe they're backed by Downey?
Yeah. They want everyone to purchase like laundry cleaner.
You think that maybe Procter and Gamble have a part in this?
It's all a big business Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, that's what I get from it too.
Brian, what do you think? What do you think, PCS? TC Fox Gaming? What do you guys think? Do you think this is a conspiracy? Do you think this is Downey behind this, Procter and Gamble? So the claim is Orthodox Jews engage in marital relations through a hole in the sheet. We like to refer to that as the sheet hole. So that's how I
Three
prefer to
sheets
have
to the
sex.
wind.
Sheets to the wind. And as we learned last night on our last stream, is that you cannot grow trees in the Shetland Islands because of the massive wind. And you cannot fuck through a sheet hole in the Shetland Islands because of the wind.
Wow. This is really filling me with a lot of great knowledge. Thank you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
this is what we try to do here. We try to bring the knowledge, but we try to bring the entertainment at the same
Mhm.
time. We call it edutainment, kind of like what TLC was at one time.
Right.
But now
You've totally opened my eyes and my sheet holes.
well, now you know about sheet holes. Now every time you see a sheet, you're like, huh, maybe I should bring that home to the wife. Maybe I should try that out. Maybe I want, and then you actually start looking at the thread count. You're like, is this thread count? Is this for sheep holing?
Like, hypothetically speaking, like, how would they do it? Like, how they have it on the clothesline, and they poke like a hole, or do they like drape it over the person that they're having relations with?
That's the good question. Is who's the top and who's the bottom?
Yeah.
Is it like the love scene in Naked Gun?
Okay, so such is the case with the sex through a hole in the sheet rumor. None of the three branches of Judaism require their adherence, and is indeed taking the joy out of marital sex, such as the fashion runs directly counter to all things Jewish. Whereas in some branches of religion, sex, they think they mean religious sex, but whatever, it's Snopes. So religion sex within marriage is supposed to be primarily for the purposes of procreation. Throughout Judaism, it is viewed as a celebration of couplehood. Man and wife are supposed to enjoy each other, whether kids are the goal of an encounter or not. Indeed, not making love to your wife can call rabbinical sanction down upon the head of a Jewish man or even provide grounds for divorce.
Okay.
They said it's false, but they still haven't. Let's see where the actual facts are. I want to see sources.
Didn't they just say a contradictory statement where they said that Judaism's views celebration of couplehood and they're supposed to enjoy, but now if you are not making it for procreation purposes, you're gonna get the sanctions down upon your head? That seems kind of insane.
Yeah, it sounds very insane, and it seems like
I think they ran out of things to talk about on the news.
Well, they wrote. Oh, here's the sources. It is. They actually have them. I am very surprised here because this is Snopes, and it says New York Shocking Books of 1984, Women Jewish Law. No page number, mind you. I guess they sourced the entire book and read it before they decided they do not procreate through a sheet. And the Botak Shmel, kosher sex, a recipe for passion and intimacy. London Duckworth. Well, that doesn't sound. That sounds like a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant who's writing that book. His name is Duckworth.
I wish my name was Duckworth.
It's a fantastic name. Well, don't you wish also that you could write a whole book on how people have sex through sheets?
And make money for it.
I think we have a new Indiegogo game for
we do.
The Jerusalem. Oh, they have a page here. The Jerusalem Post, page 9. What do you want to bet, if you remember back in college when you do a research paper or any research paper, that you pull a lot from the one quote, and that's why they have the page here, and then the rest is kind of filler bull crap just to get on there. We got a feeling this is what they're doing right here. They probably took this all from the Jerusalem Post.
It looks like a college research paper. Like you just are so tired after writing the whole thing one day before it's due that you just start citing random sources.
Exactly.
Terribly.
And I think that's the issue here. And you're not Snopes. You're not fooling us. I think this is a conspiracy. I think Downey is trying to sell more sheets.
Yeah.
Or trying to sell more cleaning to the sheets.
Yeah, and it's the water company too.
Water company. They're trying to charge us. They're trying to take your babies.
This goes all the way to the top.
This goes to the top, to the tip. This goes all the way to the tip.
Rim shot.
And on that note, I'm a man of sex. This is Mike Murphy, 69, and braggadocious.
Yes, sir.
Braggadocious. And once again, everyone out there, please back Samurai and Dinosaurs, a graphic novel by Mike Murphy. You can follow him at Chibi Mike on Twitter. You can follow me at Man of Sex on Twitter. Everyone have a great night. Have a good time. Keep
Have
it
a good
just
one,
nasty.
Later.